So without wasting our time, I would like to call on the second presenter, and that is our brother, Dr. Barrister Bashiruddin Badr. He will be addressing the topic Nizab for Zakatable items in Islam. We are coming to the technical aspects of the zakat distribution, the calculation, and of course its disbursement. So, like the Amir Sab implored us at the beginning, please let us pick our pens, because there are so many technical aspects here. Prof. Sab has entered into it in different ways, but he refrained from going too deep because he knew, or he knows that it is the main subject of discussion from Dr. Badru. So, Dr. Badru, you have the floor for the next 30 minutes. This is 12:13. This is 12:13. So, in the next 30 minutes, we expect you to give us more as it is, so that, and after that, we will take a summary of both discussions in Hausa and Yoruba, inshallah, before going straight to the question and answer. So we are all advised to prepare our questions in advance. Whatever you want to ask questions on, from what Prof. Sab has delivered, we should start putting it down. So both will be taken, inshallah. Dr. Bashiruddin Badru, you have the floor, sir.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
I give gratitude to Allah for this opportunity. My topic is Nizab for Zakat on articles of trade, livestock, companies, and related matters. You have heard from the Prof, my teacher, where he clearly took us round the importance of this very important but often neglected pillar of faith. So, in this paper or in this lecture, some words will come very often. Some words like Nizab, Hawl, then Zakatable items, and will come throughout this lecture repeated. So please, let's stay on track. I would probably just want to skip the introduction, but let me just take the introduction, then I will skip what is Zakat, why is Zakat important. That has been dealt with by the learned Prof. So, in my introduction, I say, Allah says in the Quran, وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ وَارْكَعُوا مَعَ الرَّاكِعِينَ. Observe Zakah, observe Salat, and pay Zakat, and bow down with those who bow. This is the foundational verse for the topic we are dealing with. And let me also say here that the word Zakat in the entire Quran is mentioned 32 times. Out of these 32 instances, Zakat is mentioned in its technical meaning of paying Zakat 30 times. Only 2 is not associated with technical implication of paying Zakat. And out of these 30, 28 times Zakat is closely linked with Salat. 28 times of 30, Zakat has been interlinked with Salat. That is our obligatory prayers, daily obligatory prayers. So now I will come to examining zakat on various items of trade. The number one item of trade I picked on is the zakat on articles of trade, merchandise, trade, goods. This is called Orodo Tijara. This applies to goods bought or produced with the intention of resale for profit. Please underline that statement. That opening statement is very significant. Very, very important. Whatever will be this that will be zakatable should, one, be goods bought or produced with the intention of resale for profit, underlined. For example, you have a shop inventory of raw materials, finished products, real estate held for sale. For those of us who buy lands for keep, you bought this land, okay, let's just see, maybe in the next 2, 3, 4 years it will improve. Yes, if it does improve, which we know that it will definitely improve, then the amount of purchase, because the intention is for resale, the amount of purchase must be kept in mind. If this amount of purchase falls within the Nizab, then you have to pay zakat on that property. So it can also be on fixed business assets. Okay, we have a workshop somewhere that we have built for that purpose. It's for workshop, but it is for business purpose. So this also falls within the operation of this statement with the intention of resale for profit. Nizab, same as cash or gold, we have two items usually used for measurement of Nizab, especially you have the gold and you have the silver. It's just like when we are paying for Zakatable Fitri in the Jamaat, we say that those who have the capacity are on this level, and those with lower capacity are also on this level. So those with higher capacity are on the gold level, and those with lower capacity are on the silver level. This is the standard from the time of our noble Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the value equivalent of 85 grams of pure gold or 595 to 612 grams of pure silver, that is, though this is the standard. Gold and silver cash and trade goods are combined to reach a Nizab. You must understand something here, that if you, like I have mentioned earlier, if you bought a land for purpose of resale and you kept it for more than a year, once it is more than a year, the period of calculation is called haul. That is a 12 calendar month. So once this land, for instance, you bought a land for 16 million, and the current standard in Nigeria, for Nizab in Zakat is 16.9 million. You bought it at 16 million. However, at the time of sale, the land has become 25 million. This is the technicality. At the time of sale, the land has become 25 million. However, with the period between purchase and sale, it's not up to a year. Then this land has not become zakatable. However, if the period between the period of purchase and sale has gone beyond 12 calendar month, that is one howl, then it means that land, that property has become zakatable. Of whatever the amount on that land is going to be paid as zakat. Let's note this. Number 2 item. is zakat on livestock. This is what is very prevalent at the time of the Prophet ﷺ and common, especially in the region where I'm based, Kano, northern region. Livestock zakat applies only to freely grazing animals kept for milk, breeding, or meat, not stall-fed, working animals like plow oxen, or those raised commercially as trade goods. Those fall under trade rules. What I'm saying here is that the animals that are usually where we have the rules of zakat applied to are animals that you see on the streets reared across. They are not stationed animals. They are not those ones in your compound stationed at one place. The rule does not cover it. However, that also has an exemption. I'll come to the exemption. So the nizab and rate is you pay in kind. Okay, you have these camels, this number of camels that you move about across. We see it every day here. Every day here. So you move camels around, you move cows around, you move your sheep and goats around. In fact, when I was returning from Salah, my children were asking whether this sheep and ram that they see on the road were actually owned by an individual. I said, yes. You see the individual following them may not necessarily be the owner. They are just the workers, moving them around. So now, when you look at the rate, the numbers, for every, the zakat that is due on any of these animals, for camels, if you have at least 5 camels, between 5 and 9 camels, this is the standard for Nisab. Between 5 and 9 camels, you have the Nisab will come to 1 sheep or goat. But if you have 10 to 14 camels, then the Nisab will be 2 sheep or goat. If your camels is 15 to 19 in numbers, then the Nisab is 3 sheep or goats. But if it increases, as it increases, this is how you pay the zakat for 1 howl. That must be kept in mind. If you have 5 to 9, between 5 and 9 camels this year, and before the howl expired, the numbers have reduced to below 5, then you are excluded from paying zakat on these animals. As for cows and cattle, you must have minimum of 30 cows that you move around for trade purpose. And if you have between 30 and 39 cows, then then you have between 30 and 39 cows. Then one of them will be paid will be used as nisab for zakat. However, that one must be a year old, not less than 1 year. That the one you want to use, because you may have 30 and all of them may not be a year old. So, but you have kept all these animals for 1 full year. So all of them, because they are reproducing, all of these 30 may not be 1 full year old. So the one that is 1 full year old is the one that is going to be used as a nisab for zakat. Then you also have, maybe you have between 40 and 59 cows or cattle. Then you have, what you are going to pay is just one also between this period, 40 and 59. Between these numbers, you have just one to pay as zakat. However, that one must be 2-year-old. Must be 2-year-old. Then if you have additional after this, then it means that for every 30 or for every additional 40, that is every 30 you have additional one. If it is more than 30, that is from 39 to 40, from 40 now upward, each one that you are going to pay is 1/1 from that 40, and that one from that 40 must be 2-year-old, meaning that for whatever number you have above the 40 numbers of cow or cattle, then it means that you have 1 in 40. Then if you have more than 40, like you have between 40 and 80, then you have 2. However, this 2 must be older than 2 years. This is the rule. Then for sheep and goats, those of us who also have this in our farm, we have farmland that we have built somewhere. However, we graze these animals around, but not beyond the farm. It falls within this interpretation. And before any of your animals, your sheep or your goat, can be zakatable, then it has to number up to 40, between 40 and 120. 40 and 120. This is what you should have. And you must have also raised them for a period, for within the howl, for a period of 1 year. And if they increase, if you have 40 to 120 animals, that is goats or sheep, you are only entitled to pay zakat with just one of them. One. And if you have more than 120, between 120 and 200, then you are paying zakat with just 2. And if you have above 200 to 300, you are paying with 3. Above 300 to 400, then you are paying with 4. And if it is above that, for every 100, your increase is just 1. For every 100 above 400, your increase is 1. So if I have like 500 animals now, that is all I have. But I am just going to pay 4 plus 1. That is just 5. That's all for 1 year as my Nizab. Don't forget, I mentioned at the initial stage at the beginning that only grazing animals are qualified, and if raised intensively for trade, this is very important. So it is not that we're just keeping it in case. No, the niyat must be, this is for business. And once it is for business, then you are supposed to have at the back of your mind the payment of Nizab on these animals. Number 3, Nizab for cash in banks. I think this one will apply to all of us. Yes. Those of us who will say, me, I don't get company. Me, I don't get, I don't have a business. I don't have any, I don't buy land. I don't, yes. You may think you are not concerned in those, in that one I mentioned. Then also I'm not a farmer rearing animal. Yes, you are not. But here, you have money in banks. And we operate different accounts. Don't forget, we operate very many accounts. Savings, current, fixed deposit, etc. So for every of these accounts you have, if the amount in total will come to what Nizab, what we can take and say, oh, that's the Nizab, then it means that your money for a period of 1 year in your bank accounts now has attracted zakat. So we also come here to say, oh, what is the standard? We have also the silver standard. We have also the gold standard. So for the silver standard, that is the lower threshold, we have between 950, 850, 950, 1 million. That is, if 1 million is sitting in your account for 1 full year, then you are going to pay 2.5% of 1 million or 950 as zakat. It's just there, it's staying in that account. You didn't touch it and nothing touched it. No debts, no other engagements affects it. Then it means it is there for 1 full year and you have not spent a dime from it. Then you are going to pay 2.5% of that money as zakat. That is what is zakatable. But for gold standard, the amount for gold standard fluctuates, and it's usually measured on 87.4 gram of gold. So, and the last time that is measured, in fact, the report in Nigeria within January 2025 and October 2025, the Nizab has actually changed drastically. So in January it was 11.3 million. However, by October it has come to 17.4 million. So the average standard here for money in bank is 16.9 million. So if you have 16.9 million sitting in your account for a period of 12 calendar, then you are entitled to pay 2.5%, 2.5% of this amount as zakat. Many will want to argue, well, some of this cash are just for some different purposes. Yes, we understand. Many purposes may be there. But whatever does not make you touch this fund in your bank accounts cumulatively, and you have 16.9 million cumulatively in your accounts, then 2.5% will be necessary for you to pay as zakat.
Network.
Now,
his network.
Hello, can you still hear me? Can you still hear me?
Yes, we are hearing. I am here.
Okay, wait.
Very well. Thank you, sir. So I move to the next one, which is zakat on companies, businesses, shares, and stocks. Yeah. Businesses are generally treated under trade goods rules. For sole proprietors, that is small businesses, what you do is calculate net zakatable asset annually. That is current asset, inventory at market value, plus cash, plus receivable, minus liabilities. Liabilities generally must not form part of what zakat will bill you on. No. It's just like that for zakat. You are in debt, you cannot pay zakat. So you have, but when you put your current assets, that is, you do your inventory at the market value, okay, this is what I want. This is what the company wants. That's what I mean. Then plus the cash you have at hand, then plus what you are still expecting to come in. So, but minus your debts, minus your liabilities. So if the Nizab is, what we're calculating is 1 full year, and if the Nizab has passed, what I mean is, if what you have has fallen within the Nizab, then the 2.5 on the net total is what is expected to be paid as zakat. And for shareholders, company shares, trading and speculative shares, bought or sell for profit, then 2.5 of full market value is what we're asking. That is, if it is above the Nizab. And what is the Nizab here? We're still looking at the gold value, 16.9 million in 1 year. So, however, for long-term investment shares held for dividends and ownership, 2.5 of your proportionate share of that company is zakatable. If you are having a share above the Nizab, and it is there for a period of more than 1 year, then you are expected to pay zakat, that is 2.5% of a proportionate share of the company. A company's zakatable assets. I'm talking about company now, not individual. So then you also have fixed assets like factories and equipment. These are exempted from your company's asset, especially when you are doing the audit at the end of the year. However, if you are not aware, if you don't even know the amount, then some scholars allow that, okay, just check your dividends or your profit for the year, the company's dividend and profit for the year, and calculate the 2.5% from the dividend as your zakat. This is only what is approved. Okay, my company is making 100 million this year, and after all dues are paid, and when accounts are then the value of the stock at the end of the year is this amount, then as long as it has crossed the threshold of the gold, 16.9 million, then that company must deduct 2.5% as zakat to pay. Now, I come to Nizab for agricultural products. The Nizab is 5 works. Works, also called al-suk, that is the plural form. As established in authentic hadith, there is no zakat on grains or dates less than 5 works. That is, if what you have is, because the Nizab for agricultural produce is works. What you have, if it is less than 5 works or alkos, then also you don't pay zakat on this item. But if it is more than 5, that is, and it is also assumed that one wasp is 60 sa. 60 sa, that is the cups. The cups we use as sa for measurement during the Zakatable Fitri, the Jaka thing. 60 of it is what you are required to pay as Nizab for grains. However, 5 of these is expected to weigh 653 kilograms, 653 kilograms. If it does not weigh this, then there is no Nizab on it. There is no Nizab on it. The Nizab applies to the net produce. After removing shaft, straw, you've refined it. It has come out clean for sale. That is when you can do the measurement. For produce that cannot be easily measured or stored, e.g., vegetables, fresh fruits like watermelon, cucumber, and others, many scholars, especially in the Shafi'i, Maliki, and Hanbali school, hold that no zakat is due, especially on perishable items, pepper, tomato, albasal, and the rest of them. These cannot be stored for 1 year. So therefore, nothing about paying zakat on these items is permissible. Yes, I've mentioned. Okay, now I come to mention another important item for zakat, and that is zakat on jewelries. This would apply to our women, our wives, generally, because they are fond of buying gold, jewelries and silver jewelries and keeping them at home like that. And while I was preparing this lecture and I was reading it to my wife, and she said, "So I'm going to pay zakat on these things I'm keeping." I said, "Yes, we are going to pay. Once we value it and the value crosses the threshold of zakat, then the Nizab, you'll be entitled to pay, because that is the rule. If you are keeping it, but I'm not actually keeping it to resell. Why are you keeping it? It is something of value. You are keeping it so that by tomorrow, the value will have been added. So if you don't want the value to be added, why are you keeping it? So the important part here is that zakat applies only to gold and silver of these items. Any other thing, any of the jewelries that is not gold, that is not silver, zakat is not applying to it. Other materials like diamonds, pearls, platinum, and gemstones are not subject to zakat unless they form part of trade goods. The rate is constant, 2.5% or 1/40. The current market value of gold, silver content if zakat is due. Nizab threshold, minimum amount that triggers zakat. Gold equivalent is 87.48 grams. When you have 87.48 grams, that's approximately $7.5 or 3 ounces of pure 24 karat gold. And that is also important. The quality of the gold is important. We have 24 karat, we have 22 karat, we have 18 karat, we have like it's coming down like that. We have 10 karat golds, we have 11, 12 karat golds, like that, coming to 24 karat golds. So the gold that is zakatable should ordinarily be 24 karat gold. And the measurement is 87.48 grams. So, and for silver, the equivalent is 612.36 grams, approximately 52.2 tola or 21 ounce of pure silver. Most scholars recommend using silver Nizab as it is lower, making zakat obligatory for more people and increasing benefit to the needy. The current market for 87.48 in Nigeria is 16.9 million. So if you have gold that you have kept in your possession for 1 full year and it's measured 87.48 grams, then you are entitled by implication to pay zakat on this stored or kept item. There is a well-known difference of opinion, especially regarding jewelries worn by women for adornment, not kept as investments and savings. This is an area for clarification. Hanafi school and some contemporary scholars, zakat is obligatory on all gold and silver jewelries if it reaches the Nizab, even if one daily. However, once the value does not depreciate and it is 24 karat gold necklace and you are wearing it for 1 full year, then you are going to pay zakat on it, especially if it reaches Nizab. So this is considered the safer opinion by many, as gold and silver are forms of wealth. Majority view of the Maliki, Shafi, Hanbali, and schools, zakat is not obligatory on jewelry intended for adornment. This is another school of thought. They felt if you're just wearing it for fashion, what's the big deal? Zakat is not obligatory on such items. However, zakat will be due if it is kept for investment and savings, it exceeds normal customary amount, that is, you are already doing big woman, big man, then it is not won or used. Many sources.
Dr. Stav starts including your 30
I'm
minutes.
rounding up. I'm rounding up now, sir. So, and okay, let me just go to the general ruling. No zakat is due on personal used item made from metal or materials such as platinum, palladium. Then, when zakat does apply to these items, okay, let me check. Another one, which is another very important aspect that I must not skip. Let me go to that one now. Zakat on cryptocurrency. For those of our members who are still trading in cryptocurrency, despite the Khalifa's instruction in that regards, well, I have information for you. Zakat on cryptocurrencies as Bitcoin, Ethereum, stablecoin, or other token follows the same core principles as zakat on other forms of wealth like cash, savings, or trade. The overwhelming majority of contemporary Islamic scholars and Fatwa Council classify cryptocurrency as zakatable wealth because it has monetary value, can be owned, traded, and used as store of value or medium of exchange. That is the main thing. Anything that falls within this definition is zakatable. So, all right, though there are consensus view and there are differences of opinion regarding this, then we'll get to that when it is maybe question time. However, where you have shared land or tenancy, the cultivator or farmer is responsible, even if it is leasing. Multiple harvests per year, zakat is due on each harvest separately if it reaches Nizab. It's a family land, and it is used for cultivation, and we are making gains on it. So together, the value will be measured. That is the produce at the end of the year. And if it exceeds the Nizab, then it must be paid. It's like being a shareholder to a company, and once the company pays your share, you don't need to pay pays your zakat, you don't need to pay individually again. So if this family land is collectively owned and collectively run, then you must pay zakat on the product every year. And I think with this, I have come to the end of this paper. May Allah enable us to understand this better. Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We thank Dr. Bashir bin Badr Sab for that brilliant presentation. May Allah continue to be with you. Yeah, don't forget the topic is Nizab for zakatable items in Islam. He actually took us through the issue of zakat. He gave preliminary information about the number of times zakat is mentioned in the Quran. He went ahead to tell us the fluctuating trend in the market, and that the Nizab, that is the minimum amount of money on which zakat is payable, that between January and October Last year, it went from 11.3 million to 17.4 million. And calculating the average with the gold criterion, we agree on 16.9 million. He also went into the issue of trade, business, and what have you. That is an area that is a little bit, he talked about gold, and I said the Nizab for gold is, at the point he said 85 grams of pure gold. Towards the end, he talked about it 7.4 grams. I guess he will have to clarify the shift, the reason for the shift. He went ahead to juxtapose some of the provisions in the traditions with the opinions of modern scholars because of the exigencies of the time. He spoke of Nizab using the gold criterion and the silver criterion. Dr. Saab, you may have to note that because I have heard from some of Jamaat's sources that the Jamaat's position is that we use the gold. I don't know how far that is true. Maybe we'll have clarifications on that later. Then on the issue of wasak and ausuk, that is the traditional measurement used at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. You have not given us equivalents in modern categories. We know that one saw is 4 muddu, according to the muddu we use for Zakatable fitri. And one saw is 2.04 kilograms. 2.04 kilograms. Some scholars are of the opinion that it's between 2.04 and 3 kilograms. And as regards wasak, you said the wasak for agricultural products, the quantity we're going to use for agricultural product is 5 wasak. That is 5 ausuk, which is the plural. If we go by the calculation of one saw, which is about 2.04 to between 2.04 and 3 kg, and we're talking of one wasak is 60 saw. One wasak is 60 saw, which means 5 ausuk should be around 300 saw or thereabout. So you may have to give us a proper calculation, which we will agree upon. Then there is an aspect I will also want you to note when you were talking about the agricultural products, the difference between the Nizab of Zakat payable on natural, on products that were watered through natural irrigation and those watered through artificial irrigation, because some of these issues actually generate controversies. However, you have given us the framework for understanding Zakat. What will I guess, I believe our Muballighun are also online with us. I am hoping we will have input from Fiqh Ahmadiyya so that what we have listened to will be truly complete. May Allah continue to irrigate the sources of your knowledge from the fountain of His grace. Jazakumullahu ahsan al-jaza.